G'day guys and welcome back to your English Aussie. It's great to be back. We are now up to 8k in the world. Today I'm going to talk through the best defenders, midfielders and forwards by each price point for you as usual. So strap on your boots and let's dive straight into the video. Right, here we go, back to the business, and we have the less than 4.5 million defenders. A couple now sneaking in that have increased in price over the season. Van Heck up at 4.5 million, Dalot at 4.5 million now. Really, the options that I would be looking at in this area are Mukiele and Alderete of Sunderland. You can see there their defensive contributions per 90 at 10.1 and 9.9. Sunderland over the next 3 game weeks, some good fixtures with Crystal Palace, West Ham and Burnley. Palace who are struggling to score goals at the moment. West Ham who are in turmoil. And Burnley as well, a team with not too many goals being scored before a couple of tricky games against Arsenal and Liverpool. But if you are just looking for that budget enabler, Mukiele and Alderete would be fine for that rotation. Ferdy Kadioglu, someone quite interesting from Brighton. Brighton have like quite a reasonable fixture run at 4.4 million. 5 clean sheets so far this year for Ferdy. Could be an interesting differential at that price point as well. Leeds have been fantastic so far over the last sort of 5-6 game weeks. Although I do think their backline, again, haven't been keeping too many clean sheets. I don't expect Rodon to continue to scoring those goals off corners, given he scored maybe 3 goals in the last in his career for Leeds or something. And Goodmanson again at 3.8 million is not really somebody that I would be looking at. However, Jakob Bijol at 3.9 million is somebody that I would look at. An absolute monster from corners and set pieces. He's already got 1 goal and 2 assists so far this season. And his defensive contributions per 90 are 9.16 at the moment. He's made his way into that Leeds starting 11 as centre-back. And definitely I would be someone I would consider, especially if Leeds start to have any good fixture runs coming up. Fulham, Everton and Nottingham Forest as 3 of their next 4 is not particularly bad. And definitely someone that you can consider at that price point as well. So moving on to the 4.5 million defenders. Lots to talk about here. 4.5 to 5.4 million defenders. Top of the list, we do have Mark Gay of Crystal Palace. Will he move in this transfer window? That is one to keep an eye on. Manchester City have their eye on him. Liverpool have their eye on him. Palace are desperate to keep hold of him. If he does move to one of those big teams, he would be an absolute steal at 5.3 million. However, having said that, I do think one of his key selling points at Crystal Palace is he does play in a back 3. He is the man that steps out through the midfield with the ball, gets into those positions on the corners of the box and puts in those crosses. And that is one of the reasons that he does have 2 goals and 4 assists so far this season. Those 4 assists have often been coming from him getting the ball in those sort of situations. Someone that I really like at the moment is Chalobah of Chelsea. 5.5 million, really nice fixtures for Chelsea now going forwards. Game week 23 onwards, I would say. I think Brentford have been in some really good form lately. But after that, Chelsea just go on a really, really nice fixture run. And I think you could definitely look at a few of their players going forwards. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, and then that is followed by Burnley in game week 27 for Chelsea. Maxime Lacroix of Crystal Palace, nice option at 5.1 million, especially if Gay does move on in that transfer window. Lacroix might be the one you want to go for in that Crystal Palace defensive line. Outside of that, Mateus Nunes of Manchester City has been at the top Manchester City fullback so far this season, above Nico O'Reilly. 94 points, 1 goal, 4 assists, and the DEFCON of around 7.5. But most importantly, that BBPS column, baseline bonus points, a stat that I've sort of come up with myself a little bit here. And that does show that he picks up really nice baseline bonus just by the normal things that he does within the game, outside of the goals, outside of the assists, outside of the clean sheets. So when he does pick up either a clean sheet, a goal, or an assist, he is more likely to get bonus points than the other players in that Man City team because that baseline bonus is so high. And you can see there he's picked up 11 bonus points so far this season because of that. So Matheus Nunes, definitely someone to not turn your nose up at if you are looking for a Manchester City defender. I do prefer him over O'Reilly. Senesi still unbelievable for DEFCON at 13.05 defensive contributions per 90. Couple of difficult fixtures though for him with Brighton and Liverpool before Wolves, and then Aston Villa in 25. Not as easy as it may look. They are in good form so far this season, and then Everton in 26. If you do have Senesi, not necessarily someone to be getting rid of, but definitely someone to have a watchful eye on. If he doesn't continue to keep picking up those DEFCON in recent weeks, he is going to be someone who I'd look to be moving out of the side. Reece James at Chelsea for me is just not quite the one. I really do prefer Chalobah for the goal threat off corners and set pieces for Chelsea. They've been fantastic from set pieces this season, and Chalobah has been one of the big threats in the box. He also does have quite nice baseline bonus points and has picked up 7 bonus points so far this season for Chelsea. Dan Ballard and Joaquin Anderson of Sunderland and Fulham, 2 guys to have a look at. For me, Ballard at 4.6 million is just a little bit too expensive. I do prefer the Alderete or Mukiele at Sunderland. His DEFCON per 90 has started coming down as he's been playing more minutes for Sunderland now to 10.76. Joaquin Anderson at 10.95. Again, really nice for DEFCON at 4.6 million. However, just doesn't quite get the clean sheets for me for Fulham. They haven't really been able to find that defensive solidity, and unless you are looking for sort of a rotation DEFCON man, Anderson doesn't quite make it in for me. Moving on to the 5.5 million plus expensive defenders. Top of the list is Gabriel here. He's just got unbelievable stats again across every single category. An absolute must. Bring him into your team this week if you haven't already got him in your team. A must-have and a must-hold for the rest of the season. Jurriën Timber, a really nice second place for me in terms of Arsenal defenders. I think if you are looking to go for 2 Arsenal defenders, Timber is definitely the second best option. 6.3 million, I know, a little bit of a pricey pick, but he is quite nice for expected goal involvements per 90. Arsenal, being the clean sheet monsters that they are, will continue to keep those clean sheets. James Tarkowski at Everton, again, someone I think that's a really nice pick. I did like Michael Keane before he unfortunately got a really silly suspension this game week for Everton. However, Tarkowski, again, for me, is another really nice pick. DEFCON per 90 at 11.19. Baseline bonus at 12.1. Although he hasn't really been that much of a threat off set pieces and corners. 8 clean sheets so far this season for Everton has been really good. And those defensive contributions for Tarkowski have been really important in him being the 3rd highest scoring expensive defender out here so far this season. Danny Munoz, one to keep an eye on. Once he comes back for Crystal Palace, he should be straight back into your side. An absolute brilliant pick going forwards. Once he comes back from that injury, is going to be a really important player again for Crystal Palace going forwards. Liverpool defence isn't quite doing it for me. I know Burnley this week, so if you do have them, they would be a hold. But after that, they are players that I would be looking to move out of my team. And that about rounds out the expensive defenders for me. Moving on to the cheap midfielders. We have a few on this list. Harry Wilson, not really a cheap midfielder anymore. He has increased above that less than £5.4 million price point, and one I might move out of this analysis into the mid-price midfielders from next week going forwards. Outside of him, James Garner of Everton, for me, just wouldn't really bring in due to the fact that when Dewsbury Hall does come back, I do think that means that Garner isn't going to be getting as many of those attacking returns as he is at the moment. Granit Xhaka is still a really nice pick for Sunderland. And one guy that I do really like at the moment that's on the up is Aronson of Leeds. 4 goals, 6 assists so far this season. Leeds are looking really nice going forwards. Dominic Calvert-Lewin spearheading the line. Not words that I thought I would be saying this season. But yes, Aronson has been really nice for Leeds at 5.4 million. Might be a really nice cut price option for you if you are looking to go for a cheap midfielder. Into the mid-price midfielders then, as we move on, lots to talk about here. This is sort of the range where you want to be finding those gems in the rough. Declan Rice, I think, has just been fantastic all season for Arsenal. 4 goals, 7 assists, obviously on corners. So has been picking up those assists for Arsenal due to the fact that they've been so prolific from corners so far this season. Also on direct free kicks. And indirect free kicks as well for Arsenal. So does have quite a few routes to points there. Bruno Guimaraes for Newcastle. Just a man who just manages to find FPL points. Even last week for Newcastle, Anthony Gordon comes off, Newcastle win a penalty. There is Bruno to take it again. Just a man that, with no real reason to not pick him in your team. He's a leader for Newcastle. He's the captain for Newcastle. He's going to be playing plenty of minutes for Newcastle. Baseline bonus, fantastic. Again, 16 up there with Declan Rice. And that is why they are managing to pick up those bonus points. If they are getting a goal, if they are getting assists during this season, they have been picking up big point hauls. So definitely someone I would consider bringing into your team despite the fixtures. Defensive contributions at 8.85, not particularly high. You need 12 for the midfielders to be getting those extra 2 points. Morgan Rogers at 7.6 million, 7 goals, 4 assists so far this season. He's been finding his form from Aston Villa recently, but at that price point, I do just prefer a few other players. I think Villa don't particularly score that many goals. And although I do like Morgan Rogers, I think there are some other players around that price point. Declan Rice, Bruno Guimaraes, and Enzo Fernandez, who I potentially like a little bit better over the next few weeks. Speaking of Enzo Fernandez, I think he has a really nice fixture run, like I've been talking about for Chelsea. It is probably going to be a pick for a lot of people between him and Cole Palmer, and that is one I will go on to discuss in the next section when we do speak about Cole Palmer. But I do think Enzo's a fantastic pick. Let's see how he goes under Rosenior, whether he'll be giving that same license to drive forwards into the box and be one of Chelsea's driving forces forwards. Elliot Anderson for Nottingham Forest, he's just kept ticking over the points so far this year. He's only got 1 goal and 3 assists so far this season, but is up there with the Enzos, with the Tavernier, Sharders, etc. this season. Trossards that have all scored 4+ goals so far this season. And here he is, defensive contributions, 13.67. Continues to pick those up. Level with another man, Casemiro for Manchester United, also around 5.5 million. Defensive contributions at 12.29. However, Casemiro has found 4 goals and 3 assists so far this season. An interesting one for me, and one that I definitely would look at bringing into the side, potentially with Bruno Fernandes now moving into the 10 role with the new manager coming in for Manchester United. Does that mean that Casemiro starts almost every game for them, potentially alongside a Kobe Mainoo? That might mean that Casemiro becomes a real fantastic option for Man United going forwards, given the fact that he is picking up those DEFCONs. He does have nice baseline bonus. He does pick up bonus when he does get goals and assists, and he has got 4 goals and 3 assists so far this season. Could be a really interesting pick going forwards. One to definitely keep an eye on with the new manager and what formation they play. Tavernier, with the exit of Semenyo for Bournemouth, does become more of a key player in FPL terms. He is going to be likely on penalties for Bournemouth going forwards. Could also be on some set pieces as well. Does already take some for Bournemouth. And could become a really interesting option going forwards. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Potentially one you want to go a little bit early into if you are looking for a bit of a differential pick there. I do really like Tavernier. Another one I've got my eye on at the moment is Leandro Trossard of Arsenal. 6.9 million. Just really nice fixtures for Arsenal from an attacking perspective over the next 5. Nottingham Forest, Man United, Leeds, Sunderland, Brentford. I know Sunderland can be a bit of a tricky game, but the rest of those look like really nice fixtures. It is a bit of a risky pick, especially if you've already got 3 Arsenal players. If you want to go for a Declan Rice instead, I obviously don't mind it. But he is one of those sort of streaky players, Trossard, who can pick up big points hauls. If you are looking for a bit of a differential pick, I don't mind him at all. And then Ryan Cherky, whose stats are just absolutely mental. Look at that, 0.7 spics expected goal involvements per 90. 2 goals, 8 assists so far this season from 834 minutes. The problem for me with Cherky is that sort of pep roulette and whether he will be in the team every week, especially as the Champions League fixtures start to come thick and fast. So Man City, they're in all of the cups still, and they are going to be needing all of their players and all of their squads. Will Cherky be playing throughout the league? Will he be getting rested for many game weeks? Is it worth going for him despite that? It depends what you're looking for at this stage of the season. If you are chasing points, if you are looking for a differential, he is definitely someone to consider. For me, I do prefer some of the other options on the table here that aren't as much of a risk 4 minutes as Cherky. And I do really still like Phil Foden in that Manchester City side. He's pretty much started every game since game week 4 for them, and is just still quite a nice pick in my opinion. Moving on to the midfield, Semenyo to Man City. That means he's a sell for me. Pep often likes to bed in his new players, let them understand his system. I saw Semenyo starting in the Cup as well in midweek for Manchester City, and I don't expect him to be starting immediately in the league. If he does, expect his minutes to not be too high in terms of maybe 60, 70 minutes per game. So for me, I think it's a wait and see for me on Semenyo. If he starts starting every week for Man City, then definitely someone I would consider bringing in. But for the moment, I do still quite like Phil Foden if you are in that Man City midfield. Bukayo Saka for Arsenal, for me, is not my favourite Arsenal pick in the midfield option. I do prefer Declan Rice. I even potentially prefer Trossard as a bit of a differential. And then my third pick would be Saka. The one thing you can say for Saka is he is on penalties. He does also take corners from the other side, and he is Arsenal's talisman. So if they need to be playing a game, if they need to be winning a game, which they do need in the Premier League to win this title, Bukayo Saka will be playing those minutes. Obviously, with the Champions League, as it comes thick and fast, there may be some rotations for him, or at least slightly reduced minutes. But that shouldn't put you off picking him, as he is their talisman player. And over these next 5 weeks, Arsenal have some really nice attacking fixtures. So if you do want to go with 2 Arsenal attackers, I do think Saka is still a good pick. Cody Gakpo for Liverpool, someone that's coming back into contention a little bit on that left-hand side for Liverpool. Obviously, Ekitike picking up the injury, Isak out as well. Wirtz almost started in that sort of false 9 spot for Liverpool. Didn't really work for them. Could Gakpo be played as a striker in Ekitike's absence? I'm not sure Slot's really got an absolute balmy what is going on at the moment. He's coming up with some just ludicrous decisions in terms of the Liverpool line. For me, it's just don't touch with the rusty barge pole. A lot of these Liverpool players at the moment, I wouldn't want to be bringing any of them into my team, and that includes my favourite player at the moment, which is Hugo Ekitike. I just think there's just too much going on at Liverpool at the moment, and they need to really find their form before we should be picking a lot of their players. If there is one I would go for, it would be Ekitike. However, I think Thiago and Haaland have been performing so well so far this season that there's no need for anybody else. Finally, Bruno Fernandes. Still, I think one of the best picks in this midfield bunch. He's just got so many routes to points, defensive contributions, goals, assists. And with the new manager coming in for Manchester United, could he be playing in that 10 role? We will have to wait and see what happens, how they start to play Bruno. Does him going further forward mean that he's potentially looking like he could be getting even more goals and adding that to his game? Because at the moment, with 5 goals and 8 assists, he's already looking like a brilliant pick on penalties as well. So really, we'll have to wait and see on this new manager for United and what they look to do. Speaking of managers, I do have something I do want to talk about again today. It is a football management game and it is called Footium. I've got super addicted to it over the last couple of seasons now. I've been playing this game and you can join for free as a caretaker manager just to work out the game, see how it goes. It's a really interesting management game. A few new theories, I would say. It does give you the ability to have this longer term look on managing a football team, and not just a football team, but a club itself. And it really, you have a little bit of those intricacies of how you plan for the future, how you buy your players, how you sell your players. And it's a really interesting spin on football management. I've been really enjoying it. I just missed out on promotion this season with the last 2 games of the season slipped up. So give it a look. I'll run through some of the details now on the screen, and I'll leave a link down below in the description for you to use my referral code if you are interested in taking a look and signing up. Here it is. Check this out.
This is Footium, a new online football management game where you actually own your own players, club, and manage the team, competing in daily matches against other managers. You start by signing up on the Footium website with an email address. Once you're in, you can purchase your own club, complete with a badge, a stadium, and a squad of players. You can choose to play for free as a caretaker manager while you understand the game, or buy your own club with a card. Every player has stats that matters, things like stamina, leadership, and which-footedness they are. These aren't just numbers, they affect how your tactics play out on the pitch. You set your formation, pick your lineups, and compete against other managers in daily matches. Win games, climb the divisions, win rewards, and build your football management legacy. And finally, because players are digital assets, that means you can trade them on the marketplace. So you can scout bargains, sell talent, and build a squad that meets your style.
One other man to talk about in here is Cole Palmer of Chelsea. Look at that fixture run for Chelsea. It is starting to get really nice, really juicy. Changing manager, Maresca's out now, Rossini is in. Will Palmer explode? And I think that is the question on a lot of FPL managers' lips. Do you go for an Enzo, a little bit of a safer bet, lower ceiling, but maybe a lower floor due to the multiple routes to points? Or do you go for a Cole Palmer, a massively high ceiling, but he just hasn't quite found his form yet this season? His shooting boots yet this season. Limited minutes so far due to injury. Is it time to go for a bit of a punt on Palmer? He could be a bit of a differential, and we know that he can score big hat tricks, 4 goals in games. And if he does, can you get in before the rest of the players in FPL? Definitely one to consider, one that I am thinking about this week, but I will be putting out another video this week where I do talk through my transfer plans and what I plan to do with my team at the moment. 8k overall rank, and we're really flying this season, and I am looking to ways to try and win FPL rather than just consolidate a nice rank this season. So I'll be releasing another video later this week. Keep an eye out for it, what I'm going to do in my transfer plans going forwards. Moving on to the cheap forwards then. Only probably 1 or 2 to talk about here. I think Fleming of Burnley has been a bit of a revelation for them up top. Again, minutes have been an issue for him at the moment as Burnley tried to find their footing. Krupi Jr. has been fantastic in my opinion for Bournemouth. Again, sort of all of these guys in this list have been minutes issues so far this season. As you can see from none of them having played more than 1,000 minutes, no one having started more than 11 games of Foster in those first 21 game weeks so far. Not much more to talk about in the less than 5.4 million forward, so we will move on to the mid-price forwards. And we do have right at the top here the two guys that are absolutely gunning it so far over the last few weeks, and that is Thiago of Brentford and Calvert-Lewin of Leeds. Again, not something I thought I'd be saying this season. Thiago with 16 goals and 1 assist, just a must-own. Just a must-own and a must-hold for me. Calvert-Lewin with 9 goals and 2 assists. And this is entirely dependent on your formation and what you're looking to play at the moment this season. For me, I'm only playing 2 strikers with a third striker as sort of a bench fodder and looking to go for the midfielders who are those sort of big point scoring midfielders. And as you can see here, although Calvert-Lewin has had a really fantastic run of form, been fantastic over the last 4 or 5 games for Leeds, 9 goals and 2 assists so far this season. But if you look at points scored for him, he's only on 89 points. Whereas if we go back and look back at some of the midfielders who have done a lot less, you can see that they've scored 90 points, 6 goals and 2 assists for Enzo, 92 points. Even Garner, 2 goals, 3 assists, 95 points. Wilson, 102 points. I know he's done quite a lot. Granit Xhaka, 1 goal, 5 assists, 88 points. So you can see these sort of midfielders are just as good as a Calvert-Lewin up front. And I think it just allows me the ability to just have a fodder striker up top in terms of like a Mark Guiu or an Obi, whoever you want around that 4.3 million price point. So I've gone for that sort of ability to go 4-5-1, 4-4-2, 3-5-2 formation. And I'm going without Calvert-Lewin. If you do have 3 playing strikers, or you're going for 3 strikers and spreading the funds more across your team and having more of a 15, then I think Calvert-Lewin's a wonderful pick as a third striker. I think really nice. It just really depends on how you're looking to set up your team. I do think an optimal formation is to have one sort of just 4.3 million striker and then be able to spend a little bit more money in the midfield. Outside of Thiago and Calvert-Lewin, not really anybody else to talk about here. I think they're the 2 main guys in this bracket. If you don't have them, I wouldn't be having anybody else here, regardless of the fixture runs. Up front with the expensive forwards, again, for me, there's just a one-man pick here. It is Erling Haaland. 20 goals, even 4 assists so far this season. He is tearing it up. Could set another goal-scoring record for himself this season if he keeps going like this. Expected goal involvements per 90, 0.97. Mental. 31 bonus points this season, 163 points. He is absolutely tearing it up. Ekitike on here for Liverpool. Like I said, I do like him as a Liverpool option. Out of all the Liverpools, he's my favourite. However, again, wouldn't break into a Haaland, Thiago and Calvert-Lewin 3 strikers so far for me. João Pedro is the one I would keep my eye on. I think he's an interesting pick over the next sort of 5-6 game weeks for Chelsea. If there was someone that I'd potentially take a punt on outside of Haaland and Thiago, it may potentially be João Pedro. But yeah, the rest of the strikers for me, just a no-go area. I wouldn't be looking at anybody else. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you want to subscribe, smash that subscribe button. Hit the like. Really appreciate that. If you don't, no stress. Watch the videos. Enjoy. Good luck with FPL this week. I will be doing a live stream on the deadline again this week, so tune in for that. I do team reviews in all my live streams. So if you chuck your team ID in, I'll pull your team up on stream and talk through potential transfers, what you should do, benchings, etc. I tend to get through everyone during the live streams, dependent on the amount of people we do have in, which sometimes does get a lot. If you do want to sign up to membership, you do obviously skip the queue and I will do your team first, or Super Chat, of course. Otherwise, have a fantastic week, everyone. It is great to be back. Hope you enjoyed this video. This has been your English Aussie, and I will catch you guys later.